Hi guys, Puddin here from BIA World of Warships with a Massachusetts review. Now, if you had premium time, you could get the Massachusetts early. I.e., if you bought 1 day of premium, you could buy the Massachusetts early if you so desired. For everyone else, you have to wait until they actually release the ship. Now, what do you need to know about the Massachusetts and what are we going to compare it to? Well, the Massachusetts has a few special things that is different than the North Carolina and Alabama. Mainly, you can run a secondary build. This ship has very good secondaries. But we will get into that after we go through all the stats. The main ships I want to compare this to are going to be the Massachusetts, Alabama, North Carolina, and the Tirpitz, just because of the way I did set mine up. And because the play style is going to be similar to at least those that I did mention. Doesn't mean we can't take out the other ships. I do not have a key in port because I cannot stand the Amagi. Now what you need to know is it starts out with 66,300 HP. When I say starts out with, because of course you get heals, and I'm not going to sit here and do math to figure out maximizing use, but that is what you start out with. Compared to the ones that I just mentioned, I do believe the Tirpitz is the best starting HP at 69,300. The other thing is the Massachusetts gets a very nice 48% torpedo protection. The next best ship is Alabama at 50%. Now the artillery is you get 3x3 406mm guns. So for each turret, you get 3 barrels of 16-inch American penetrating shells. Now, for the most part, between the Massachusetts, North Carolina, and Alabama, they're all the exact same guns. Turret rotation is about the same. If you're a battleship, you're already used to over 30-second turret turns. You're also used to 30-second load times. The Tirpitz, I believe, gets a 26-second reload time, so the Tirpitz is beating you there. But the Tirpitz and the Roma, because we do want to point that out, both run the Roma is a 3x3 381mm, which is basically 15-inch, while the Tirpitz is a 4x2 380mm. Now, the difference between Massachusetts and those other ships is the maximum dispersion on the Massachusetts is 240 meters. On the Alabama, it's 271. The Roma is 227. And the Tirpitz is, I thought I wrote it down somewhere. Nope, I didn't. We'll just go look real quick, is 276. So the Roma has actually, out of the premiums, like I said, I don't know the key, actually has some very good dispersion. But you never hear anybody write home about Roma accuracy. The other thing is they're all about 35-ish fire chance for their HE, so I'm not going to get into that. Now, the AP and HE do the same between North Carolina, Bama, and Massachusetts. These are pretty much identical guns. And your HE does 5,700. Your AP does 13,100. Now, there is another difference between Bama, North Carolina, is your firing range. Your shell velocity is exactly the same, with the AP doing 701 meters per second and the HE doing 803 meters per second. Just to give you another comparison, the Tirpitz The Tirpitz HE and AP do 820. The Roma does 850. So the Roma has got a little bit more oomph behind its shells. As far as AP and HE, the Massachusetts, the Americans, you will notice a difference between shooting AP and HE as far as shells getting to target. But one of the big differences between Massachusetts and primarily North Carolina and Alabama is Alabama's got a range of 21.1 kilometers, while the North Carolina does 23.3 kilometers. That is max firing range. Your next closest competition would be the Roma at 18.1 as far as max range. You do not have the range that most of the other Tier 8s have, but pretty much you're starting out at what most ships would be their starting range. So you're really not hurting there. It's just, you know, it's really at the start of the battles where you are going to notice you can get some shells on some targets that are a little further. Now, this is where the Massachusetts differs from Bama and North Carolina. They all have these 10 by 2 127 millimeter secondaries. These do, I believe, act as dual purpose. As you can see, they are evenly divided along both sides. The difference comes in between the range that your secondaries and reload. Your reload is 3.8 seconds. Your range, and I do have this spec'd as a secondary, is 11.3. You do get a 5% fire chance, and you do 1800 damage per shell. Now, this is why I want to compare it to the Tirpitz, because the Tirpitz gets 8 by 2 105 millimeters. They fire 3.2 every second with a 5% fire chance and do 1200 HE damage. It also has 6 by 2 150 millimeters that do shoot out to 11.3 that reload in 7.1 and have an 8% fire chance. Its damage is 1700. So your shells are doing 100 more damage than the Tirpitz, and the Tirpitz and Bismarck are near identical, but I want to try to keep this between premiums just to give you an idea. You're shooting about the same. It's just all of yours are 127 millimeters, while Tirpitz is kind of broken up between these 105 and 150 millimeters. But for the Tirpitz, I believe it's the 150 millimeters that are its dual purpose. The other thing is the Tirpitz has a range of 21.4 kilometers. So while the Alabama and Tirpitz are about firing at the same range, they do have a 200 meter difference. Yeah, I believe it's about a 200-300 meter difference between you. You will notice this in some of the battles, especially when you do get up tiered to tier 10, which will happen. AA Defense, it's a U.S. battleship. It has glorious AA. Now, I do believe on the North Carolina, all their 120 millimeters are all lumped up into just single mounts, to where on the Bama, North Carolina, it is all broken up. Now, my Massachusetts is not spec'd out for AA. It's more or less spec'd out for my secondaries, but you just need to be aware that you are doing about the same damage as the North Carolina and Alabama. I just have different captain skills and different flags on those ships, so those numbers are not exactly the same, but your 20 millimeter Olicon single 20 millimeter cannons shoot out to 2.4 kilometers and do an average damage of 90. Your you get 5 of these double mount Oricon 20 millimeters that shoot out to 2.4 and have an average damage of 31. As you can see, these are sprinkled all over the deck. The Bofors, I believe, are identical between all the ships, as in you get 15 of these 15 by 4 40 millimeter Bofors that do an average damage of 238 and shoot out to 4.2 kilometers. Now on my Bama and North Cal, I believe it is 5 or 5.2 because I do spec more into AA on those ships. And now your long range or your dual purpose 10 by 2 127 millimeters, which also act as your secondaries, shoot out to 6 kilometers, I believe, on Alabama and North Cal at 7.2. Do 151 average damage. It's a U.S. battleship. It has glorious AA. Really not going to compare it to the Turpus or the Roma because nobody's ever writing home about that AA. But they do, both of those ships are adequate enough to sort of defend themselves if they stick with the group, which is kind of what I would do if I was in a Massachusetts because my AA doesn't shoot out. As far as like my NC. Now this is another area that all of these ships kind of have a discrepancy in it. Now the Massachusetts does 28.9 knots. You'll probably never see that unless you're driving straight in a straight line for a very long time. I'm not sure if I do have a speed flag on. Yes, I do. That is with this speed flag. Now, without the speed flag, you are doing 27. Now, I threw on the speed flag because 27 knots is, well, it's slow considering you will be up-tiered an awful lot. Now, the Turpitz does 30 knots. Roma, I believe, does 30 knots. The North Carolina does 27.5 and 27.5. So you can see I'm not running flags on those two. North Carolina, Bama, Massachusetts all do about the same. Now the reason I do put on a speed flag for Massachusetts is to try to do the push. Now the other thing is your turning circle is 710 meters with a rudder shift of 15.7. North Carolina is 760 with a 17.3. Alabama is 710 meters at 15.3. Now, the other thing is between the Alabama, Massachusetts are both, I believe, South Carolina classes, while the North Carolina is a North Carolina class. That is why the turning circle and rudder shift are a little bit different. These are a little bit more maneuverable than the North Carolina. The Turpitz has an 850 meter turning circle and rudder shift of 16 seconds, while the Roma is at 810 at a 15.6. So between the Bama, Massachusetts, you are a little bit more nimble than the other battleships I did mention. Now this is another big thing, is concealment. The Turpitz, I got my concealment down with a full concealment build to 12.3 by sea, 11 by air, and the reason I say 11 because planes can only spot to 11. So anything over 11 kilometers instantly becomes 11 and 15 meters in, or 15 in smoke. Roma is 11.2, so the Roma's outspotting you, 10.3 in air, and 13.7 in smoke. North Carolina is 11.8, 9.7 by air, and 15.1 in smoke. The Alabama is 12.2, 9.4, and 15.6. So the Bama and North Cal get a little bit better concealment than you, because you are detected at 12.4. This is a full stealth build captain. 9.4, you're spotted the same as Bama as far as air, but the Bama can actually smoke fire if it ever occurs, because 4 meters difference, because you are detected at 16 kilometers. Now, the other thing between Massachusetts and the rest of the ships is obviously going to be its armor layout. It's going to be very similar to the Alabama, but different than the Tirpitz. Now, as we can see here, it has the lowered citadel, where it's pretty much underwater. 274 meter 274 meters citadel belt or bulkhead, and 168 bulkhead. That is without the casemate. You get a 32 millimeter armored belt or deck, and then you get a 310 armored belt, which is, you know, the side here. Now, the Tirpitz obviously gets the glorious turtleback, which is that piece right there. That's its turtleback there. But you can afford to show a little bit of side, but you can and will easily get punished for it. You do not have a hard citadel. Now, to hit. Now, the North Carolina, just to give you an example, this is where you usually aim at the North Cal, and you will be getting citadels all day. Usually what you're actually end up hitting is underneath the turrets is where I would aim for your best chance to get the citadels. But as you can see, you can easily get it because it is a raised citadel. Now that we've gone over the armor, you got an idea of what that like. Nobody really, yeah, superstructures 19 millimeters on sorry about that, on pretty much all 3 of these 19. You do get some decent gun armor, but nobody's really raiding home. You get a 32 millimeter bow and aft here. So pretty much the only thing that's going to overmatch you is going to be a Yamato, which you can face, or even the Musashi. But prior to checking everything else out, one of the big differences between this ship and the rest of the Tier 8, actually between every battleship with, yeah, every battleship, is all of their damage control minus October Revolution, because that comes back quickly fast. With the premium is 20, active for 20 seconds, but it has a cooldown of 120. With the premium is 80 seconds. If you're running a premium ship, you're better off running with the premium consumables. They will pay for themselves. But it is your repair party. Your repair party is active for 28 seconds. Between the 3 U.S. ships, you're getting plus 397 HP back per the 28 seconds. It's the same on North Cal, Alabama. Without premium, it's a 60-second cooldown. With premium, it's a 40-second cooldown. Now, the Tirpitz and Bismarck both get this 415, but as you can see, with the premium, it's 40 seconds. That is standard between all of the Tier 8s. Obviously, without premium, it's just 120. It 80 seconds. So what you can do with the Massachusetts is run up, take a buttload of damage, burn forever, run away, and pretty much in about a minute you will have all of that back because you can burn through a bunch of heals. I go with Fighter Plane over Spotter because AA, it's personal choice. But now that we've kind of gone over the armor loadout, the premium consumables, what makes the Massachusetts special over the Alabama and North Carolina and the rest of the tier 8s is really this repair party, and between the US is the secondaries. You kind of want to put in a specialized captain, i.e. somebody that's just going to stay in Massachusetts, or somebody that's going to go lull in one of the other battleships with a secondary build. To make effective use out of the Massachusetts, you will want to go with a secondary build. As you can see, my modules are protect my main better. Protect my secondaries in AA, DAMCOM 1 and 2, concealment, and of course longer shooting secondaries. I've gone with a secondary build because I think it really helps this ship out, because the secondaries are just lol funny. You can see what flags I'm running. Longer secondaries, more speed, because a lot of things can outrun you, and just having an extra couple knots is a little bit beneficial at times. Might as well always get more HP. Got to make sure those fires don't burn forever. But as you can see, and I point this out because Massachusetts only gets one camo. I believe that is the same for all of them, unless you did the Bismarck campaign. Let's get rid of armor loadout. But you can, the Tirpitz does get multiple choice as far as camo. I did get the Halloween, but for the most part, it's all the exact same bonuses. There's nothing new there. The Alabama, it's the same thing. All the permanent camos give the exact same bonuses, which is minus 3% to detectability, plus 4% to enemy dispersion, minus 10% to cost of ship's repair, and plus 50% EXP. The only reason I'm pointing that out is because these are premiums. Now, I probably should have stated this at the beginning of the game. Anybody asking me if this is a buy or no buy, I cannot make that decision for you. I'm giving you all the information that I possibly can make to have you make a more informed decision. Now that we've talked about the ship, showcased the ship, its special things, what kind of modules, now we're going to check out my captain build. Now, as you can see here, the reason I'm going with protect the secondaries and AA is because I'm running preventative maintenance. My captain build is obviously priority target, preventative maintenance, expert marksman, basics of survivability, manual secondaries, advanced fire training, and concealment. This is pretty much a standard build for me for any sort of ship where I will run a secondary build. The reason I go with basics, I want to burn less, flood less, have a better chance of trying to survive, especially with a repair party cooldown of 40 seconds. You will be surprised at how much that can save you. But like I said, you do want a specialized captain for your Massachusetts, but you don't necessarily need one. Now, just so you know, usually most people are buying a tier 8 to actually make money. This ship will make money. I will throw in a bunch of screenshots showcasing that this ship does make money. The reason I brought up the Roma while you were seeing all these glorious how much credits that this thing can make is The only ship that will rival the Missouri as far as credit making is a beer can Roma. That is why I bring up Roma, because if you're looking solely to make credits, you're going to be better off buying a Roma. If you're looking for a fun, enjoyable ship, Massachusetts will satisfy that need. If you're looking for a U.S. battleship trainer only, you're going to be better off with an Alabama over the Massachusetts. Doesn't mean that Massachusetts isn't fun. It doesn't mean that Massachusetts can't make money. And now we're going to check out some gameplay. Now, as you can see, we are in a Tier 8 game. We are top tier, and we are on Estuary. Now, I chose this replay because I think this showcases strengths, weaknesses, and it's a little bit different of a game than normal that you do usually get with somebody running some sort of secondary build. Usually you will see full-blown push in, pray for the best, and everything goes their way. Or they get in a very good kiting position and just kite everything with their secondaries while pummeling them. Now, this is a mixture of both. Some of the issues with the Massachusetts is you don't have the speed. You will get up-tiered, and you will see games like this. Now, prior to this game, this is the game that made me decide to slap on a speed flag, because 27 knots just didn't seem to cut it. But as you can see, you bleed off speed very, very fast while making a turn. Now, the Massachusetts does get some very good accuracy. It does get the American type accuracy. I forget what this Sigma is. It would be nice if they showed that in game, but they don't. I believe it's 1.8. I believe the Bama is 1.8 or 2, while the Massachusetts is either 1.8 or 1.7. Not 100% sure. But what I wanted to do was kind of hold this flank. Now, I really wish this DD would have tried to keep the other destroyer spotted. But, you know what? Staying alive at the start of the game is a good thing. It means, you know, he has the potential to do a lot more than if he just went in and we traded one destroyer for another. If he's able to stay alive while also getting that enemy destroyer even better. But I slowed down because I was kind of hoping my plane might have spotted that destroyer. I'm holding my shot in the hopes that that DD will get spotted. Didn't take the shot at the Massachusetts because I saw the island icon and I didn't want to waste a salvo. But this is what's nice about the, you know, a good concealment with the secondaries. You can get fairly close, and these guys will eventually have to get into your secondaries to make a turn away. Now, I am trying to hold my shot to see if this guy's going to go broadside to myself before I shoot or before I get spotted. But that is why I slowed down. I see the plane spotted me. Now, I'm only going to shoot one gun or one turret in the hopes that this guy will complete his turn. And just look at that lovely dispersion coming out of the barrel. Unfortunately, I shot too far behind. This guy turned in as I let loose on the other guns. Now, it sounded like my secondaries were going off on something. That is because I clicked on a ship. These secondaries will not shoot unless you click on a ship, because I have manual secondaries and the replays do not show it. Now, I am still maintaining a slow speed to try to maintain this corner. I'm going to let loose with everything because, well, why not? And what happens is something I did not suspect. Boom, double Citadel, first blood, devastating strike, goodbye, Orleans. Now, my initial game plan here was to try to push forward and deal with the enemy DD with our DD, trying to give that guy any sort of little support. But of course, we have a battleship that pushed down the middle, and I'm turning my guns to try to help out there. Take the shot. The guy was burning. It was a waste of shot. But you know what? You never know if he would have popped his heel. Whatever. It just, you know what? Shoot it till it's dead. It's not... so many times people have left low hull targets because they figured somebody else was going to shoot it because it was so low and burning. Keep shooting it until it dies. Who cares if somebody calls you a filthy kill stealer? You're securing the kill. You're taking a set of guns out of the game. Now the Pensacola is showing me enough broadside to where I can punish them, but unfortunately I get detected doing this, and I do not know where these shells landed. I do a nice chunk of damage to them, but it's at this point I notice our destroyer's dead. This Massachusetts is running away. My fear is the DD is still in the area. Is kind of going up the channel, and by looking at a nice big fat juicy battleship might have kept them in this area because I am pushing forward alone. Now, some of the decision making that is going on in my brain right now is being affected by chat. I've always kind of said this, I haven't said it of lately, but every battle leading up to the battle you are currently playing affects your mood, your attitude, and your decision-making process. Up to this point, I had some really good games. I didn't carry very hard, but, you know, when I put my ship out there, you know, risked it. Basically, I was trying to get some good gameplay for you guys. Then I got this game where, like I said, it's showcasing that you do get nice American accuracy. You do get LOL secondaries. Well, you haven't seen much of that now because for the most part, everybody's running away from me. But what's going on in chat is the Sims in Belfast are name-calling everybody, and man, as I take a massive hit from the North Carolina. Now, I do believe I only got Citadel maybe once, but there were definitely some pens involved there. And that's what I was saying about in the armor review. You can risk making the turn, but you can and will get punished at times for it. You're not guaranteed for safety. But to get back on to prior to me pulling a Notzer to avoid torpedoes because the DD is still in the area, our Belfast and Sims have been, well, name-calling each other because, whatever, they hate each other. Somebody didn't think the other guy was doing their job effectively. Not over there. I don't know the situation. All I know is I'm thinking, God, you know, if these two would just stop arguing, easily could have dealt with the Turpits and this cruiser. But if nobody's spotting for the Belfast, Belfast is useless. Nobody's spotting for the Belfast. He's useless. He's turned into a cruiser that's got smoke that can pretty much just run away. Belfast is not known for being a tanky cruiser, but we're not going to get into Belfast as my secondaries start going off on something. I do believe I clicked on the Atlanta because that was the closest target. What I will do is preemptively select a target I want my secondaries to focus on and either push them or slow down running away from them and let them slowly get into my secondaries. I am a little bit more active with my secondaries than with manual AA because manual AA you have to be extremely quick and sometimes you misclick on planes. See to Cleveland, I wanted to take shots on him. I do believe I'm going to switch my secondaries to the Massachusetts because we need to start dwindling some of these ships down. The reason I shot at the Cleveland first is because I have a potential of just deleting that guy. Well, just outright deleting a Massachusetts is going to happen one of two ways. Extremely lucky, 3 citadels, or a detonation. I'm not putting my faith in RNG of being able to get that many citadels on a sort of angled, sort of broadside Massachusetts. I'd rather take my chances with a cruiser than with the battleship. If we were a lot closer, story might be a little bit differently. Now, while the drama's going on in chat between contestant number 1 and contestant number 2, I kindly asked the Sims if he could spot for me. Like, you know what? I don't know where this Kagero is. We only have 1 DD. It'd be nice if he could find the guy. Now, we lost our Belfast there, and this is what I was saying about, like, if I was in North Carolina, I might have been able to take these shots a lot sooner on the Turpus because I'd have the range. Along with the Alabama, I would have the range to take the shot sooner. Even the Turpus would have been able to shoot at it sooner to potentially get their attention onto me. But I do know there's a DD with those guys, and I do not want to push into that because he hasn't been spotted for a while. God knows where the Kagero's been. As I finish off the Turpits, and that's what I mean by you shoot at something till it's dead. It's not dead until it's sinking. Till he's off the board with no health. But I noticed just by looking at the minimap, there's no way the Fiji's the one getting the cap because his ship just crossed the line. But they have enough to where there's another ship on the cap. I know it's a DD. I'm spotted. Gonna go not spotted. I do believe because the Fiji is the one spotting me. Now this is another thing we're having only 18-kilometer range is the German Tier 7 battleship that is on the A line could not see me because I don't have the range. Something else, he would have easily been able to spot me. North Carolina would have been able to spot me. I would be detected. Now this tells me exactly where the DD is. That island to my immediate left is protecting me from him, and I just became spotted. Which makes me believe he moved up a little bit and kind of got a glimpse from me, or it's the Kagero behind me somewhere. But luckily, we have the Sims behind me. This is where a 48% torpedo protection kind of will give you the courage to make bold moves. I know if torpedoes are coming, as long as I can get it to hit that protection, I will be able to mitigate a lot of that damage. Now, the reason I did not shoot at the Pensacola was so I could take a shot at the DD and completely miss because, yay, got awesome dispersion on the North Carolina for a depth strike and completely whiffed on a DD under, what's 8 kilometers from me. But my secondaries are going to town. I know he's dropped his torpedoes. He's going to start smoking up, and we need to get rid of this guy. Luckily for us, our Sims is willing to shoot at him, take a shot with the rear turrets, and luckily one of those shells pens because that gentleman decided to angle. I'm going to take a lot of damage from the Mogami behind. I believe he's running a 155 setup. I'm not 100% sure, but I need to deal with the Pensacola. Normally what I would do is put my secondaries on something else and then shoot with the primaries on something else. But I need to deal with these ships as fast as possible. So every little bit of damage is going to help as my secondaries finish him off. Now I'm angled good enough that where North Cal is not going to be able to go through my side. And then I see that the Ganize is shooting HE. And the only thing I'm thinking, great, a bad player is going to get rewarded just by setting all these fires on me. Now, you can go with Superintendent instead of Basics of Survivability, but Basics is just preferred to myself over Superintendent. But as you can see, I turned and I was broadside to North Carolina, and he failed to hit my Citadel. That lowered Citadel under the water can, you know, it is difficult to hit up close, but I noticed that this guy is showing me plenty of broadside. I was trying to aim under the front turrets, but I get a nice penetrating salvos as I take some in return. But because I can get a heal back faster, I was willing to trade that health. I have no qualms on that it's going to be very difficult for me to survive against a 3/4 health battleship. He may be tier 7. He still has a lot of his health. Keeping the Sims alive is what's going to win or lose the game, and we lost the Sims. Never gonna spot the Gigero. Kind of like, this is not going to be easy because I have to take on this battleship and the Massachusetts, who also has a lot of his health and also has the same glorious secondaries as I do, but he probably has a lot more alive than I do. This is why I'm running protect the AA and secondaries instead of protect the main batteries, because I am running preventative maintenance. If you did not know, preventative maintenance will not affect primary, or will not affect secondaries and AA, as I get a nice 13,000 damage on the battleship while they are starting to focus on the Richelieu. I needed the Richelieu to step up and start taking some of the damage, and he did. This is all of my health left. But preventative maintenance will not help secondaries or AA. Preventative maintenance only affects modules that can become incapacitated. AA and secondaries are either alive or dead. That's it. They have no incapacitation. They're either alive or dead. Modules that can be incapacitated are main batteries, rudders, engine. Those are the torpedo tubes are the only things that preventative maintenance will affect. Now I'm going to take a shot on a Cleveland to try to finish that guy off. But unfortunately, he was kind of coming in a little bit steeper of an angle than I thought. But as you can see, I get my secondaries going on the other Massachusetts because I know I'm going to have to deal with this guy sooner or later, and the sooner I can get rid of him, the better off. I see one person's targeting me, and I'm just assuming it is the Cleveland. The Kikiro makes one hell of a very good play as I delete the Cleveland. As I'm about to get hit with some massive lag, the Kikiro makes one hell of a good play. I'm trying to click on him for my secondaries, but that gentleman did a very nice job of getting in close and getting me with his torpedoes. And now we are going to check out the post-battle results. Now, as you can see, I did make some very good credits here, and I am not really running anything to really help out the credit boost as far as flags, camouflage, anything of that nature. I really just have 2 little flags, which is a 10% boost. So I'm really not running any credit-heavy stuff. Is this a fun ship? Yes. Do I enjoy it? Yes. Can I recommend this ship for you? Only you can answer your question whether or not this ship is right for you or whether or not you should spend your money on it. If you enjoy the torpedoes, I believe you will enjoy this ship. If you like American battleships but wish they had a secondary build, this ship is for you. I really did hope you guys enjoyed this replay and review. We do appreciate all the support you guys do give us. We do love the replays you guys send in to us. The email for that is in the description down below. Please remember to compliment good teamwork, good team play. We are quick to report, slow to compliment, as shown earlier. Please hit that like and subscribe button and have yourselves one heck of a great day.